I'm Matt Amorello, Chairman of the Massachusetts Turnpike Authority. I'm walking on the Leonard P. Zachem Bunker Hill Bridge. Behind me is the historic Boston city skyline, soon to be home of the Rose Kennedy Greenway. We at the Massachusetts Turnpike Authority are pleased to be working with Mayor Tom Menino and the City of Boston as we develop where once stood the old artery, new parks and parkways and sidewalks, making a new downtown Boston, recreating neighborhoods, connecting Boston downtown to the waterfront, historically reconnecting the North End and Chinatown. We at the Turnpike Authority are pleased to be making this dream a reality for the City of Boston and Massachusetts. Won't you join me now as we take a virtual tour of what we're calling a city in bloom, a future look at what Boston will look like in the 21st century.
We begin our virtual tour with a dramatic look-down flight over the 1.5-mile corridor that is the site of the Rose Kennedy Greenway, its adjacent parks, and private development parcels. For 40 years, Boston has been divided by the man-made barrier that was the elevated expressway. Now the city will once again be made whole. Key landmarks and park parcels will blossom before your eyes, as is happening right now at the North End Park. This should give you a good overall sense of the project in its entirety. And that's the Wharf District beginning to come to life below us. This inviting setting is not only a destination, but a vital new passage between the city and the harbor. As you can begin to see, the Greenway will be the most visible and accessible legacy of the project's surface restoration effort. Coming into view now is a potential urban arboretum. Such a setting would be quite a contrast with the old green monster. Moving further south, we're now passing South Station en route to the Chinatown Park. More than just a new gateway, this park really extends a beloved neighborhood. And we're on to the South Bay Interchange. The buildings appearing before you are just examples of the scale and magnitude possible in this blooming district. And now it's time for a closer look. Flanked by small parks and green spaces, the transformation of the South Bay has already begun. What will grow in this newly tilled soil is a whole new Boston neighborhood. Its most visible feature will be signature construction that dramatically extends the skyline. This will be Boston's new southern front door. As designed by the landscape architects from Carroll R. Johnson Associates of Boston, with assistance from Touriscape of Beijing, China, the Chinatown Park takes its inspiration from the existing gateway. With that as a starting point, they have re-envisioned this area as a virtual stage. The authenticity of the floral plantings of the Chinatown Park finds its human parallel in the important festivals that will draw participants and visitors from throughout the Northeast. And both plant life and cultural life will bloom in this setting. As the corridor connects Chinatown to the Wharf District, it calls for a reimagining of Dewey Square. Always filled with the hustle and bustle of an urban nexus of finance, commerce, and transportation, the square will now enjoy a more pedestrian-friendly ambiance. Boston's connection to its harbor has always been visceral, just not very accessible. As envisioned by San Francisco-based EDAW and its local partner, Copley Wolf Associates, the Wharf District will become reanimated with the creation of its signature park, the Grand Room. The designers have articulated the character of this park as both destination and passage, and while it comprises 4 parcels, it has been designed to be experienced as a unified whole. Leaving the Wharf District, we now pass over Christopher Columbus Park. Turning back for a brief moment, we can take in the scope of the now obvious connection between cityscape and harborside. Just a short distance to the north, we arrive at North End Parks. Here, Boston's Crosby, Schlesinger, and Smallridge, in association with Gustafson, Guthrie, and Nickel of Seattle, have achieved a dramatic reconnection of the city with one of its most recognized neighborhoods. Featuring an innovative and imaginative porch environment, the parks capture and expand the very essence of life in the North End. And that essence is life lived out in the streets, in the open. It's about meeting and greeting and eating. As we leave the last of the major park parcels, we are still within the domain of the corridor and the greenway. We now find ourselves amidst a renewed Bulfinch triangle, providing strong evidence of the way that development parcels will be nestled among the many smaller and intimate parks that dot the length of the greenway. As this movie demonstrates, the Rose Kennedy Greenway and all its pieces and parts achieves a connectivity. It is another kind of artery, one through which flows the very lifeblood of a renewed community. The Greenway is an icon for much that is right about Boston. It is a bold and brave assertion that human opportunity and commercial opportunity can coexist to the benefit of both. In its very name, the Rose Kennedy Greenway merges the new that will bloom with the legacy of Boston's storied heritage.